Hey y'all, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. This week I picked up $25 in groceries and I'm going to be feeding myself breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the full week. And these are all recipes that I absolutely love. They are super delicious and I think you're gonna love them too. Now, if you've watched the last single person meal plan, you may notice that I had a few ingredients left over. So if you were to follow that one and this one, you might actually be able to only spend $20. But I'm gonna show you how much everything would cost if you bought it today instead of doing that last meal plan and then this one. So let's see what we got. So for this meal plan, I went to a couple of different stores to try to get the best prices. And some of these things are left over from my last meal plan because we had extra. But I'm going to talk about all of the prices here so you can see what you might spend if you were to buy all of this right now for this meal plan. So with these sweet onions, it was a 2-pound bag for $1.89, but I'm only using one, so that's 38 cents for that. 99 cents for the mixed frozen vegetables. Frozen broccoli florets was $1.09. At the Dollar Tree, I found this bag of jasmine rice for $1.25. I had leftover rolled oats from my last meal plan. So these were $3.89 though for all of these oats. Then I've got some garbanzo beans, or chickpeas as they're also called, from Aldi for I believe 89 cents for the can, but you can find those at Walmart as well. And these bananas were 49 cents a pound, so this was less than $1 for all of these bananas for the week. The strawberries are not in season. They were $2.68 for the pound, but you may be able to find them cheaper at Costco or Walmart. I got these at Aldi. This cheese was on sale for 91 cents each at my local Vons or Albertsons, but at Walmart, it's always $2 for 8 ounces. So you could just, grab some for $2 from there. Greek yogurt, I always have this on hand. I think it's $3.75. I got this one at Aldi, but Walmart has a similar price too for the same size. And then I'm using some reduced fat organic milk, but you can use oat milk, which we might also use that. We have that on hand too. Any milk will do. You can buy a half gallon at Walmart for around $2, so that's not too bad. And then I did get some chicken. This is $5.41, so a little bit pricey. It was $2.99 a pound, but I'm going to be freezing most of this chicken and only using one chicken breast. So all of this food should be around $24 or $25 depending on where you can shop. Dollar Tree, Walmart, Aldi, those are all great places to find these kinds of groceries. The hardest part about budgeting the groceries for me is not going to get any takeout for breakfast. So that's why we're going to go ahead and start with a little bit of meal prep here. I'm making my favorite overnight oats. I love these because they take only 5 minutes to just whip up a bunch of portions, and then they're in the fridge for easy grab and go options later. So to my mason jars, I'm adding half a cup of rolled oats, a quarter cup of Greek yogurt, and a half a cup of milk. In a couple of them, I used regular dairy milk, and in the others, I used oat milk. They both taste amazing. You can use any milk that you like. I'm adding a quarter teaspoon of my homemade vanilla extract, but honestly, that's totally optional. I've made it without the vanilla before and hardly noticed. Now I'm adding honey to 4 of these, and then I'm going to add maple syrup to the other. And this is just an experiment to see which we like best. They both tasted amazing, so really it's just personal preference. Then I'm just going to give that a really good mix so everything is nice and combined. And I use these little plastic lids instead of the metal ones because the metal ones tend to get really rusty. So these can be found on Amazon. I do have a link in my storefront for you so you can see what they look like. They come in a couple different sizes too, depending on what you need. And then I just wrote on the top what they were with this little chalkboard pen. That worked just fine, just so I knew the difference. They look amazing. Now I am going to do a little bit more prep, so in the morning things are a little bit easier. I washed and dried my strawberries, and I'm just going to go ahead and chop those up and put those in a mason jar as well and put that in the refrigerator. So it's easier for me just to grab my oatmeal, pour my berries on top, or slice up a banana and put that on top. And I also personally love a little bit of slivered almonds. You can add all kinds of different ingredients to this to make it your own. Some people have recommended to me doing peanut butter or Nutella. Maybe a little bit of jelly would be good with some chopped peanuts. The sky is the limit with these. If you have not tried overnight oats, I highly recommend giving this one a go. And if you don't like cold oats, you can actually warm these in the microwave. Of course, be careful using the glass, or you can pour it into a pot and do it on the stovetop, whatever works for you. But definitely give this one a try. And if you haven't tried it before, let me know what you think after you do give it a try, because it really surprised me the first time that I tried these. They are just so delicious. Now, these can last in the refrigerator for up to 5 days, but I recommend making only enough for 3 days, eating those, and then making another batch just for texture. This next recipe is a 1-pot broccoli, cheese, and chickpea casserole, and it is really delicious and full of flavor and so easy, and it's a 1-pot meal, so that makes it even better. So first I'm just going to add a little bit bit of oil to a nice large pan and add my uncooked rice. I'm going to toast that for just a few minutes. Then I'm going to season with a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Don't be shy with the seasonings. Make sure you add plenty to taste because that's really what's going to add all of the flavor here to this dish. Once that's nice and toasty, I'm going to go ahead and add about 1 1/4 cups of milk and 1 1/2 cups of water, or if you have vegetable stock on hand, you can use that too. Now, this is going to vary a little bit depending on the rice that you used. I used jasmine rice, so it uses less liquid, but if you're using any other kind of rice, just look at the packaging and make sure you use the right amount of liquid to make sure you have enough so the rice gets nice and cooked through. Now I'm going to season this with a little bit more salt and pepper to taste. Then I'll bring that to a simmer, cover it, and just cook that for about 18 to 20 minutes, which is about as long as jasmine rice takes to cook. Then I'll go ahead and add my drained and rinsed chickpeas and my chopped frozen broccoli. You can use fresh broccoli or any vegetables you really like for this, but broccoli cheese is just such a yummy combination. I love it. Then, of course, season with more garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Give that a good stir, and I'm just going to cover that and let that cook for about 5 minutes or so, maybe 7 minutes. Just check to see if that broccoli is nice and cooked through and those chickpeas are warmed. And once they are, you can go ahead and turn off the heat and start adding your cheese. A little tip, just take the cheese out of the refrigerator about 10 minutes before you're going to add it to this dish. It's just going to help it melt a little bit easier. Then you're just going to stir and maybe add the lid on top to sort of help that melt before you mix it all together. That's what I did just for about a minute or two. Just kind of seals in the warmth there and helps it melt. And that's it for this one. I did add some hot sauce to mine because I add hot sauce to everything, but it didn't need it. It's so flavorful. There's lots of ways to make this one your own too. I hope you love it. On the same day that I made the chickpea and broccoli cheese casserole, I made 1 cup of cooked rice and put that on a sheet tray and just chilled that in the freezer for a couple hours and then put it in the refrigerator for the next day because I'm making chicken fried rice for the next dinner idea. Now I am just going to be using 1 of the chicken breasts for this and freezing the rest for later. And I actually am going to use those other 2 chicken breasts for the next dinner, which I hadn't originally planned, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. But in the meantime, it's going to stay nice and fresh in this food saver, which is my favorite. If you haven't looked into having one of those, it's amazing. Keeps everything nice and fresh. Now I'm going to cube the chicken, and then in a large pan, I'm going to add the oil. I use avocado oil, but you can use any oil that's good for high heat. A vegetable oil would work fine. Just try to avoid things with a low smoking point like olive oil. You want something that's not going to burn or smoke. Once that's nice and hot, then I'll add the cubed chicken and season that with salt and pepper. You can add seasonings that you like to, garlic powder, onion powder, whatever you like. Then once those are nice and golden and brown on one side, I'll flip it and then finish cooking through on the other side. And again, seasoning with salt and pepper and any seasonings that you like here. Once that chicken is nice and cooked through, I'm going to remove it and set it aside. Add a little bit of butter, about a tablespoon, to the pan, let that melt. Then add my onion. You can use the entire onion. I used about 1/4 of an onion for this. Then the whole entire bag of frozen veggies. I'm just going to warm those through. They only take a few minutes to do that. Then I'll set those aside with the chicken as well and add a little bit of oil and another tablespoon of butter. Butter really adds a ton of flavor to this dish. And then I'm going to grab my chilled rice from the day before and put that in the hot pan. This is really important. This is what really adds the nice texture that you're going to get from fried rice. And that's one of the secrets that restaurants have when they make a fried rice, is that it's a chilled rice from the day before usually. Then I'm just going to saute that and add a little bit of salt and pepper, or a lot of salt and pepper, and a little bit of soy sauce for color, just about a tablespoon. And I'm just going to continue cooking that until it's nice and browned, and then I'll add about a tablespoon of butter, melt that in there, and then add my cooked chicken and the veggies back into the pan and just give that a good stir. And that's it for this one. It is so easy, it really takes no time at all. And these are delicious as leftovers. And you can, of course, freeze the portions for later as well. So, so delicious. One of my favorite dinners. I really hope you love this one. It's so easy. After a couple of days had passed, I went ahead and got my frozen chicken out of the freezer to make my next dinner idea. I love these freezer bags. And the reason why I like the Food Saver and not just a regular freezer bag is because these are so easy to just take them right out from frozen so I can thaw them in the microwave, because I'm always short on time. Then I'm going to chop a couple of carrots that I had left from the last meal plan. If you don't have carrots, you don't need them. You can use any veggies that you have on hand, or no veggies, whatever you want. And instead of a chicken broth, I'm just going to add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce to about 4 cups of water to sort of mimic that umami flavor that you get from chicken broth. To a slow cooker, in this case my Instant Pot, I'm adding those 2 chicken breasts, then 1 cup of oats, those chopped carrots, which I chopped really large because I am slow cooking this, then about a teaspoon of garlic powder, onion powder, thyme, and basil. You can use any seasonings that you like for this. We're just kind of making chicken noodle soup with a twist. Then I'm going to add that water with the soy sauce and cook on low for about 4 hours. After 4 hours, I'm going to check the temp of the chicken and make sure it's 165 degrees internally. Then I'll remove that to a plate. I'm going to shred that chicken and then add it back in. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to taste this and make sure I don't need any more seasonings. In this case, I just added the salt and pepper at this point to make sure that I wasn't adding too much sodium. It's really important with chicken stock, or if you're using soy sauce, to taste it later and then see if you need to add any more salt so it's not overly salted. Then I'm going to give that a good mix and cover that for about an hour more until we're ready to eat. And that's it for this one. It's basically a chicken noodle soup. It's so flavorful. I really hope you try this one. It really surprised me. Absolutely delicious, very comforting, and really nice and filling. I hope you love the recipes and at least got a few ideas for things to make in your home. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And of course, share this meal plan with somebody who also might love it. And leave a comment down below on what you thought of those recipes. And if there's any kind of budget or type of food that you want me to use, definitely put it down below too so I can see that and maybe work on some new ideas for you. Thanks again for joining me today. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.